Round 4 team lists. Let's see what they throw up for us for fantasy and Supercoach. We just got a little bit of news just before the Keanu Keeney was going to be out, and every bone in my body was hoping that we're going to see Brimson at fullback and maybe like a Tom Weaver or something like that at 6. Wasn't to be. Unfortunately, we get Jalen de Groot, and that's the only team list I have seen, which also means that Noangi Tawaze and Rabbitohs are both sticking in the squad there with Billy Smith at 18, guys. If you haven't hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, please get around it. You won't regret it. And then also with the podcast, I'm trying to grow that one, guys, so go and check out the podcast if you find that a little bit easier to use. I'm trying to grow that one as well. You can check out the YouTube stuff if you like seeing it all on your screen as well. But we are in, and we see the Rabbitohs and the Panthers on Thursday night. They're going back-to-back. We see Jack Cole with Trent Tolau, and we do not see Schneider in this side. Surprisingly enough, he's in the 22 jersey. Casey McLean in the 18 jersey. Oh, here we go. That means we get Tom Jenkins in centre. Holy dooly. Wow. Okay, do we think that this is going to stick? You know, coach has been worried about Casey McLean for a little bit now, and I think he's pushed Jenkins into this side, and he thinks he deserves the spot. So, wow, that's really big news, and it's something that I'm going to have to look at personally in my side. And there's a certain player or two that I could maneuver around to make my trades work. I think if Jenkins is the guy that is going to stick in the centres, if they're going to play Alamotti on the wing, he actually looked really, really solid out there in that game on the weekend. And if Jenkins plays centre, I think that's pretty solid in a good side. It will be on the left, which I think is fine. Probably doesn't matter too much. They seem to tuck underneath that left centre, which Alamotti was doing, and it looks like he'll have, unless they go Alamotti on that right-hand side, which they end up doing last year week, hey? Yeah, To'o was on the left, so I think Jenkins next to To'o is probably pretty good. With Dane Laurie returning for at least the next week, we don't see Dylan Edwards on the bench. We see, Casey McLean has been dropped, and I think if Jenkins can play all right, you're getting a cheap guy in a really good team, which we saw last year with Casey McLean was not a mistake by any stretch of the imagination. So 25 points for Jenkins at fullback. He did a lot of good things, and a lot of time he was second to last pass for try assist, because I think he went like 75 plus or something like that in Supercoach. So a really, really good score there. And with your forwards, you do see Garner, Henry, Papali'i with Blaze Talangi in the 14 jersey, with just Nathan Cleary out, with Trent Tolau coming into that spot. I think that suits Jack Cole pretty well. We'll get to see Trent come out and do some good work, and hopefully against a lackluster Rabbitohs side, we can see some good things from the Panthers there. And I think with Cleary out, it does help the Bunnies have somewhat of an okay game as well. Jai Gray at the back should play a little bit better. We've got Humphries in there doing his thing, but AJ is back, and that's the big news there. So shout out to him. Hope that he can keep scoring tries, with Isaiah Tass moving into the centres there with Ravalawa on the wing. And I suspect, with Campbell Graham out, we'll see if there's any news on Graham. Graham is sidelined. No news on that so far. Yeah, okay. So we'll find out a little bit on Graham, but hopefully it's not anything out of the ordinary for him. I'm not sure. I don't remember seeing anything that was big last week from him. Pete Mamazelis keeps his 9 jersey, and if I happen to be selling Connor Watson, that's going to be helpful that he's definitely there. Duncan in 13. We don't see any news of a Ewan Aitken in this side as of yet. Lewis Dodd still in 19. And yeah, I think that's it from that first game. So that's a fun little addition with Jenkins. Oh, of course. The Roosters Titan game was the one I was speaking about, and it's not on my screen. Okay. I'll go back to that one at the end. Remind me of that, but I think I told you all the relevant news there with Nat Butcher returning, but Siwa Wong does keep his spot in on the edge, and we'll see if he actually goes the 80-minute distance now that we have seen him play really well. For the Broncos, Shibasaki keeps his spot on the left centre, at left centre, with Jesse Arthurs, his partner, out there. Some people will be looking at Reece Walsh this week, and yeah, very fair enough, given he has been priced a lot higher than this in other seasons and at pretty much all other times, apart from when he happens to have a head knock or something like that. So Walsh will be on a few people's lips this week, and yeah, for good reason, for sure. But is it the right play? I'm not sure. He's been absolutely terrible across the start of this season so far. Arthur's, yeah, you can't look at him in fantasy anymore. In terms of their bench, we still see Pikura come off that bench, so we can't grab him in our sides yet. With Jack Oz in the 11 jersey, still kicking. Corey Pake's doing pretty well. Hold on to him. Hetherington, I think you sell. And Payne Haas, obviously a clear buy. For the Dolphins there, Hammer. When's he going to turn the corner, hey? Nothing else really changes for them. Saifidi, Karfusi, Finafuriaki definitely in the starting side this week. Oren Keeley keeps his spot on the bench with no sign of Lemuelu at this point. It's good to see Bostock out there last week. So very much, not much going on for the Finns in this one. For the Dragons and the Storm. For the Storm side, we see Tyron Wishart get the 7 jersey, which was expected. Pappenhausen at 1, and Grant Anderson moving to the centre spot. So played wing. Sounds like his knee is all great, so that's awesome news for him. And for the Storm, that he's not out longer term, and he moves straight into that centre spot. We don't get anyone fun like Marion Seve, who might have been an annoying one, given it's probably only a short-term injury. So good to not have a clear option there. Wishart, we're going to see a couple of weeks out of him. Is that going to be enough to buy? I don't think so, unless you got some luck with a Munster being out eventually, or Hughes had some type of extended period off, but that's not to be expected at this point. And Jack Howarth, I think, is a really fun pick this week as well, after being a not as good of a pick last week up against the Panthers. It gets more exciting over the next few weeks, and he can definitely go out and do pretty well there. So yeah, Pappenhausen, a fun pick. Good to see him named. There was a bit of a worry around his ankle, but he will goal kick this week, which is great news for him. Their forwards are all the same, and Nelson comes out of this side as well. Not sure, did he end up having a problem? Or was it just, he was concussion in the end. Yeah, he had a few things go wrong in that game, and hurting his teammates was definitely one of them. All right, we're going to just go to the notes here. David Clemmer makes his club debut off the bench. Dylan Egan also joins his interchange. Blake Laurie and Raymond Faitala-Mariner drop to the reserves. There you go. Centre Moses Sully has been named to play. At least he got the week off with the rib injury. So the Dragons, Toby Couchman, someone that people will be talking about this week. You've got Little, Clemmer, Hamish Stewart, and Dylan Egan. So expect Stewart and Egan to play that lower level of minutes, maybe 20-odd, 15 to 20-odd for Dylan Egan, and near that 30 mark to 35 for Stewart, with Clemmer probably being in a similar type role. So I do actually see some big minutes still for Toby Couchman. If you're interested in him, I think he's a very, very safe play. He's making big tackles and doing great work. So with Raymond out of this side, with Blake Laurie, they were playing lower minutes anyway, and Eisenhuth just isn't going to make this side, it looks like, especially if Dylan Egan comes onto that interchange bench. So he's the like for like replacement for Raymond, and then Clemmer comes in for Blake Laurie. And we don't know how many minutes he's going to play, but I think likely it's not going to be huge, given he's in the sort of back end of his career, and they've got the young, fit guy in Couchman. I think you can go into this week very, very confident that Toby Couchman is a great play. So have a look at that one, see how that works for you, and if he fits your side, if you've got Haas, if you've got the Campbells and these types of plays, then Toby Couchman is one of the next best on the list for you to go for. Nothing else changes for them. Their back line, you've got Tuipulotu is more of and Gutherson, more of Supercoach picks, definitely. And is Jacob Little finally going to get some more minutes against a good side in the Storm? We will find out. Cowboys up against the Raiders. We see no changes in their back seven. In their front row, Kai O'Donnell keeps his spot with Nanai off the bench, so nothing changes for them. Morgan Smithies is out with that concussion, and that puts Corey Horsburgh in the 13. Yeah, that's cool. That's good to see. And hopefully he does actually play the bigger minutes this time. And the interchange has Trey Mooney keeping his spot with Smithies out. The question will be, does he lose his spot next week? The good news is for super coaches is that given this will be his second game, by the time Smithies returns, you'll be able to decide if you need to get him into your side as a cash down. And in fantasy, I think it's more of a, he probably does well this week with some decent minutes, but longer term, how's that going to look? And is he going to be out of the side the following week? And with how many red dots we've got, that is definitely a worry for our teams. Horsburgh 13 I like. Hopefully he does play those minutes, and Nicholson plays like that 65 off the on the edge, and then hopefully it's an opportunity in attack against my Cowboys. I think defensively on that left hand side, it's O'Donnell, it's Dearden, it's Jackson Purdue. There's definitely a world where he can get a try, and I hope that he does. But that left hand side with Hudson Young is definitely their focal point. But as a Nicholson holder, I hope that he can get that opportunity, and Horsburgh continues to do well fantasy-wise, but actually play a little bit better out on the park. And didn't actually notice, but thankfully Tamale's still there against my boys there. Tamale's going to be up against Rob Darby, so I think that's a fun little matchup for him, and he should score better than the 18 that he picked up last week. Sharkies and Doggies are going to be next up on the list, and as I said in that previous video, I will be going to this game, so if you want to come say hello, that would be awesome. I'm going to be with a bit of a group, so yeah, a short hello will be perfect. In terms of their team, it looks exactly the same, apart from Braden, Hamlin, Uele, with Tapua coming back into this side. And so, when you're looking at this side, anyone of interest really just stands out to Nico Hines and Kale Iro. If you're wanting another gun, sweet. If you're not ready for that, you're spending that type of money on those types of guys, then that's fine. You can wait a bit longer as well. For the Doggies, you see Connor Tracy back at 1. And the rest of the back line stays the same, which is ideal for them. Some people will look at Bailey Hayward. I think that's completely fine. But it is only a 2-week play, so be aware of that. And he might not score 50 every week. Toby Sexton, big kick meters again. Will that continue? The outs this week, what do we see? Jamin Salmon at 13, Kurt Mann at 14. That makes sense. We saw Current move to the edge on game day, so they're just going to name him there. We're still looking for Fifita in the starting side. So the same setup as last week. Preston, a clear hold. I don't think anyone in the Dogs team is a buy, given they miss a game in a couple of weeks. Eagles and Eels, we see Yongi keep his spot. Sean Russell comes back in, and Sam Rani goes out the side. So I know the boys were talking about Sam Rani, and if he got the spot, he'd be pretty interesting, but he didn't. So there you go. All right. Dean Hawkins keeps his spot. Joey Lussick keeps his spot. Kitione Katonga keeps his spot there with Sean Lane coming into the side. So looking at their interchange bench, it's Riley Smith, Matt Dury, Offengawi, and Dan Kia. We've got Sam Rani in the reserves. Geimer in there. Yes, nothing too much change for them. Who ended up starting? That's the question. Oh, Jack Williams. Yeah, Jack Williams moved from prop to edge with Lane going out. Yeah, and Tuavati was in the side. So Dan Keir comes out in for him. Sam Rani comes out as well. Sean Russell, where was he? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Zach Lomax killing it. Yongi, can you play him in this game? You may have to. You definitely may have to. Nathan Brown comes back. That's right. That's who they've been missing. I was trying to work out who comes back into this side. Ooh, what kind of minutes is he going to get? I was looking at Takeaho, guys. I'm saying it. Paseka, 55-minute forward, 40, close to 50-minute to 55-minute. He comes out of the side. Takeaho, great PPM. If you want to jump on, I've been tempted. Jenkins might change that. We'll have to see how the rest of the squads look and how my team sets up. But I think that he's not bad. At price at 28, he could have a pretty good one. But Nathan Brown, the question is going to be how many minutes does he get upon return, and what does he build to? Sipley doesn't make the squad. So yeah, same bench apart from Brown coming in for Paseka. And yeah, we'll see how those rotations look like. Eels, what else can we say with them? Yeah, Yongi, I'll probably have to play him this week if I've got got a bunch of players out. In their forwards, yeah, Williams at prop I don't like as much. If he's playing 70-odd minutes at edge, then that is cool. But yeah, otherwise no. Katonga, the best cash cow of the week it looks like at this point, and Hopgood with that bench is 100% playing good minutes on a regular basis. It was 57 last week. If they can stay in this clash, I think it'll be pretty high minutes for him. And then finishing it off with the Tigers and the Warriors before I go back and go into the draw and find the Titans clash against the Roosters. But Tigers, Warriors, for the Tigers, we see Stafford Toa keep his spot, and Jarrell Skelton actually named on the wing. So that's big news for anyone who does own him. He could be a laid out though, and that's where the problem does lie with Skelton, is that you would need you'd want to be playing him if you do hold on to him, and you probably need a contingency plan, maybe for their 24-hour drop-off. I think that you'll probably see him either stick in there, or the other option is clearly he would drop out of the side, but I think we would know that information. And I think if he's still in that side 24 hours before the game, I think he's pulled up okay, because that means he's gone through the captain's run and he's in a good spot. So, yeah, that part's sweet. Their bench stays the same. Only Roger out for the Warriors, with Rocco Berry returning in the centres. That's exciting. Adam Pompey moves to the wing. Fisher Harris, Barnett. Yeah, not too much else to say on that side. You can do what you like with Metcalf. Barnett I'd have as a sell. Fisher Harris a clear hold. But yeah, they're back five. Buller's all set. Safe Arth and easy hold. Stafford Toa. Could you buy him again this week? Maybe. 330 is a bit awkward, but not the end of the world. Yeah, I think we leave that there for that one. And then let's just go to the last game, which we haven't got yet. All right, that's why. Like, why can't I see this? I'm all zoomed in. All right, let's go to the Roosters Titans clash. So their team list, we do see, De Groot at the back there. Nothing else changes for them in their outside backs, with Francis keeping his spot. I did want to see Brimson at 1, but wasn't to be. Their forward pack stays exactly the same, with Cleese Haas keeping his spot. Fafita will likely come on fairly early again in that first half. We don't see any other changes. For the Roosters, Billy Smith in the 18 jersey, and Lindsay Collins should start this week. When I say should start, should play off the bench. Nat Butcher coming off the bench as well. I personally expect us to see really high minutes for Zach Docker-Clay, who is definitely an option this week as a short-term play and a short-term cash maker. I think he can do really well. If he's making those tackles, then somewhere over 40, as we've seen the last 2 weeks, you should be pretty confident with that, with the minutes that he will play. We've got Savala, Steep, Butcher, and Collins. We could see Radley move into 9 for a little bit of help as well as a potential, and Nafahu White. I still think you'll see some good minutes for him. It may not be absolutely ridiculous, but he's easy to hold for a good while here. Could you buy Wong? I think last week was the play that you had to do it. I don't know if it's locked in that he's got the massive minutes, and I think if he goes to 60 minutes and doesn't happen to make that many tackles, then he could just end up being a high 30s guy in 60-ish minutes, and that's all well and good, but do you want another mid-tier edge? Maybe you need the cover. You could go for other options for sure. I think Wong's fine, but last week was clearly the play to get him. Rob Toya, Wangani Tawaze, I think they should have pretty decent games there, so look to play them, and Sanders Smith as well. If you've got any of these guys, I think it's a very good idea to probably loop one of those Roosters plays. You've got Markey, Toya, Sanders Smith, one of those types of guys. White should be able to confidently play straight out. I know most of us at least have 2 Roosters, and this being the second game of the round is a very easy one to do some looping with the players we've got out. If all ends up well this week, I'll have 18 players. It looks like, potentially. I think I can make that trade work to get a bit extra cash in the bank. Yeah. And yeah, we'll work it out. But thanks so much for being here for Team List, guys. I just mucked around with doing a live stream as well with the private group. I just put it on unlisted, so if they've got the link, they can join. And I've worked out how to do it now, finally. Just with that trial, it just made it a lot more comfortable. I could muck around with it and not waste your times, and those guys could help me out. So I've fixed up the live stream and how to do it. So next time I do a live stream, please jump in, guys. It should be a much better experience than the lagging and the volume and all that kind of stuff should be as good as what it is normally in a video like this. So come and check that out when I set one of those up next. Put your notification bell on so you know when videos are starting, when videos come out as well. And also do check out the podcast. You're all legends. Private group stuff is in the description. $35 for the entire year to get all the one-on-one help and be involved in those live streams and stuff like that in the private crew, and get my one-on-one help and everyone else's help. So thanks so much, guys, for being here. We'll catch you in the next video. Won't be long.